We just completed 9 weeks of virtual kindergarten. Our district will be returning to in-person classes for pre-K through 2nd grade starting on October 13th. So the classroom has now been set up for 20 students. And so I'm going to give you a tour of the classroom, kind of show you how it's set up, what we're doing, how things are going to work as we prepare to return to in-person instruction. So as you first walk in, we created a sanitation station. So it's just on a table. It's got hand sanitizer, masks, wipes, and a reminder to mask up. Masks are required for all people in the building, kids and adults. Everyone will have to wear a mask at all times. So as you can tell, most of the carpets were removed, so we will not be having any carpet time. The only carpets that you see are the one under my guided reading table and the one under this table in the back. So we were allowed to keep them as long as we're not gathering on them for circle time, morning meeting, any whole group stuff. So basically what's going to happen is the kids will come in and they will go to their spot. Each kid will have an assigned spot, so that allows for contact tracing if that's needed. So they'll come in, they'll go to their spot, they'll stay at their spot. We opted to go with yoga mats. What I did was I found a website called yogadirect.com. They had yoga mats, buy one, get one free. So I bought 10 yoga mats, cut them in half. And so that's how we did the spacing. You will notice that we are about 3 to 4 feet apart on our mats. That's simply because there is not enough physical space in the room to do 6 feet apart. Our district was very, very clear about that with families, so that when families were making the decision to come back in person or stay virtual, families did have that choice, that they knew that the 6 feet social distancing would happen as much as possible, but because of school designs and classroom designs and class sizes, that 6 feet would not always be possible. So we are at about 3 to 4 feet with our mats. And again, that's why we are required to wear the masks. So that will just help with that. So that's why you see the classroom set up the way it is. So we'll go around, and so again, no carpets. So we got rid of our big circle carpet. No shared supplies. So we've covered the shared supplies area, so everybody will have their own materials. So again, just really, the biggest difference in our classroom is no carpets, no shared supplies, and they will have assigned seats. The yoga mats will allow easy cleaning. So at the end of the day, the kids will get a wipe. They'll wipe down their yoga mats. They'll be allowed to sit on their yoga mats, stand up on their yoga mats, lay down on their yoga mats. That's why I went with the yoga mats. It gives them a little bit more flexibility in how they're able to sit. I decided not to do tables or desks because it would not have worked it would have been very crowded, and it felt like it would limit the kids. And so I wanted them to have some flexibility because since we have to kind of stay in our spots all day. We will have recess. Recess will happen right outside our door. So we'll have 20 minutes of recess, and we won't have any equipment, no shared equipment, no toys, none of that. We'll just be able to go outside and run around and play. Lunch and breakfast will be served in the classroom. Breakfast has always been in the classroom. Lunch is in the classroom by my choice. Our cafeteria is set up and big enough to do social distancing for lunch for all of our kindergartners, but I opted to do lunch in the classroom. I've always wanted to do lunch in the classroom, but it logistically would never work. But this year, our lunch will be served in disposable to-go containers. So that's why I opted to do lunch in the classroom. Safer, less exposure to people, and it's something I've always wanted to do. So it gives me a perfect opportunity this year to try lunch in the classroom. So since we don't have shared supplies, I'll show you what we did. Each child has a bin at their mat. They've got their clipboard, dry erase marker. They've got a box of Target mini erasers that will serve as math manipulatives. Then they've got a supply box. So in their supply box, they've got their individual glue sponge. They've got dry erase markers, crayons, pencils, scissors, and a sock. And the sock is what we use to erase our dry erase boards. So that just will stay in their supply bins. That will be there. We'll add books to that as well, so they'll have books to read. Our district has provided disinfecting wipes, masks, gloves, face shields. So we have plenty of cleaning supplies. I've been able to find some Lysol spray, so I've stocked up. And so we've got plenty of hand sanitizer. So we'll be sanitizing our hands, washing our hands throughout the day, back here in our sink area. We will, unfortunately, the smartboard will not be utilized as it has in the past. We do have a boss of the day who does the calendar. So that will still happen on the smartboard because it will just be one child using it, and then it will be cleaned and sits for the whole day until the next day when it gets used for the calendar. But everything else, no shared supplies. We can do small groups. We're working on getting some shields for the table, so we'll be able to use our table for small groups. We will have centers. I'll go into more detail about this in a separate video and blog post, but they're basically going to have their own individual center boxes that they do in their seat. One of the things we'll also be doing for cleaning is for my classroom, we bought a sprayer called a My Clean Buddy. It uses water and salt and makes this ionized disinfecting solution and basically creates a cool steam. And so it's cool to the touch, but it kills germs, it disinfects. And so we'll also be using that every afternoon. So basically we'll be sanitizing the room, sterilizing the room each day after the kids leave so that we come back into a clean environment. We have a steamer for the floor, so we also will steam the floor every day as well to keep things clean. There will be hand sanitizer and Lysol spread out throughout the room so that we have easy access to the Lysol as needed. Our doors are to remain open. So luckily we have an outside door. So I've already prepared the kids who are returning to make sure they bring a hoodie or a jacket to wear in the classroom so that we can keep the door open as much as possible. And so we will keep it open until it's just too cold to keep it open. But we also have a door in the hallway of our classroom that will remain open as well to provide ventilation. We will also be doing slippers again this year. So we always have worn slippers in our classroom. So the way that will work this year is the kids will actually take their shoes off outside of the classroom, put their slippers on, and wear them into the classroom. So it will just, again, help to keep things clean in the classroom. And then, as of right now, the district has said to use the cubbies. Of course, we'll make sure we're doing social distancing when I'm packing up and unpacking at the beginning and the end of the day. We will only have in-person students. So I will only be teaching in person. I will not be doing in-person and virtual. So we have dedicated virtual teachers. So I will have 20 students in person all day, every day. And so that is where we are. So I'll give you a quick recap. We return to in-person instruction on October 13th. Masks are required. We will be having lunch and breakfast in the classroom. You can see the students have their own yoga mats. And so they will have assigned seats. So whatever their seat is, that's what their seat will be for this school year, or at least until January. Families had a choice between returning to in-person, continuing virtual school. So they were provided all of the information, all of the details, all of the logistics by the district, and then they had to make their decision. The decision lasts until January. When we return after winter break, they can modify that decision. So we have 20 students, so 20 yoga mats. They each have their individual bins, so they've got their supplies that they'll need. And again, because of this number of students, the size of the classroom, we're about 3 to 4 feet apart, but masks will be required. They will have to stay in their spots for majority of the day. We will have recess right outside of our classroom. We will go to specials, computers, PE related arts during the day, but again, masks and social distancing will be followed as much as possible. So that's what it looks like in room 134 as we prepare after almost 200 days to welcome students back into the classroom on October 13th.